If you trade any option credit style strategy, you need to know the difference between a variance risk premium and a market inefficiency. What's up, everybody? Eric here. Welcome back to All the Outliers, and we're going to get right to it. I recently put a video out highlighting a few common problems I see with people who trade 0 DTE SPX spreads. Not my preferred strategy, although I do trade 0 DTE SPX options, it's not via credit spreads, which I'll explain a little bit later. However, if you want to watch that video for a quick recap on where all this is coming from, I'll throw a link to that in the video description below. Now, one of my community members, totally free Discord, come hang out with us. The links to those is also in the description. He brought up how he was trading the 0 DTE SPX strategies and didn't even really understand why it was working or what he was attempting to take advantage of. And this is super common. A lot of people do that because a lot of these style trades are high probability, even though they are long-term negatively expectant. They just don't know it yet because it hasn't been realized. Now, let's talk about this concept between variance risk premiums and inefficiencies. The variance risk premium is essentially this known function where people are willing to pay more for protection on their portfolio via puts than they're technically worth. So a lot of times we see puts are overpriced, and you can also easily find this with put skew. If you look at the same delta option in most tickers, if you have a 30 delta put versus a 30 delta call, a lot of times they will be priced differently. Let's take a look at Apple here. So if I zoom in, I'm looking at the 18 noves, so 20 days out, and I look at the 30 delta put. It's trading for, let's just call it 266, something like that. Then if I go to a 30 delta call, and I look at the option, it's trading for like $2, maybe $2 and a penny. There's an additional 60 cents of premium for the same exact delta on the put side. This is exactly what put skew is. And again, this is a function that most people are willing to pay for protection. They're willing to pay a little bit more because the fact of the matter is, if they were priced perfectly, people like me wouldn't be willing to take the other side of the trade, because why would I? So the variance risk premium regularly exists in indices and other products like that. It's super important to track it carefully because it's not always there. So the strategies that we're looking to deploy may not work as well when that variance risk premium isn't present, or at least large enough for the risk to make sense. Now, when we think about an inefficiency, slightly different scenario. This is where we have the opportunity to find maybe an option or something that's mispriced. Now, the thing about inefficiencies is they tend not to be perpetual. They can last a long time, but tend not to be perpetual. So what that means is, if you find an opportunity, we trade those very differently because we understand that we found an opportunity and it can be there for a day, a week, a couple months, until it is eventually priced out and no longer there. So we want to trade them very aggressively. Now, Ewan Sinclair has a fantastic analogy for this concept of variance risk premium versus inefficiencies. So I'm going to borrow it from him because I think it's well stated. He uses a dude walking down the road. He's on the sidewalk and he finds a $20 bill outside of a bar. And you pick up the $20 bill and you move on with your day. Great. You just made 20 bucks, essentially risk-free. Cool. That is the idea of an inefficiency. That inefficiency is some drunk person that's walking out of the bar, fumbles for their keys or whatever, hopefully not drunk driving, but maybe they're grabbing something else out of their wallet, and a $20 bill falls out, and you just happen to be the first person that's walking by to scoop up that 20. Now, maybe you check it out next Saturday morning because you're like, maybe this dude's really dumb, and maybe it's there again, maybe it's not. But sooner or later, that dude that's dropping the 20s out is either going to figure it out, somebody else will find it as well, and it'll be more scarce for you to grab it, or he's just going to run out of $20 bills and it's not going to be there. So the point being, inefficiencies have a finite lifespan. It just depends on when they're going to end. Now, the variance risk premium is different. And again, based on the put skew I just shared with you, why that exists, it's essentially a function that exists and has existed in these style markets since their origin. And it's because people are willing to pay a premium for disaster insurance. That's really where it comes from. So take that same $20 bill, and instead of it being on the safe sidewalk, now it's in the middle of a 5-lane highway in New Jersey. And for any of my Northeastern people that have driven through New Jersey, you know what I'm talking about, because it's a gauntlet out there. So instead of the scenario where we just happen to be the first one to see that 20 on the highway, probably thousands of people have seen that $20 bill, but most of them are like, I don't want to get mowed down by a Karen driving a minivan on her cell phone to grab $20. So it's a unique person that says, man, nobody else is going for it. Risk is worth it to me. Let me play some Frogger, grab that 20 and move on with my day. That is the nature of a variance risk premium. Other people have seen it. They've identified it. They know it's there. They choose to not attempt to exploit it because it's not worth it to them for one reason or another. When we're selling premiums specifically on 0 DTE SPX credit spread strategies or stuff like that, you are attempting to take advantage of this variance risk premium that is usually there, but not always there. So it is so important for us to be able to track the variance risk premium and whether it exists or not. How do we do that? Now, you can create your own pricing models. I have my own. It requires a volatility calculation, which is honestly a giant pain in the ass to do and maintain. So I actually am lazy myself and I use an easier method. All I like to do is take something like a index. And if you look at these lines down here, that's exactly what I'm doing. I am simply looking at the variance risk premium using implied volatility, comparing it to historic volatility for different periods, and seeing how big of a gap I can find. So for example, on this day, 11 October, implied volatility came in at 0.3325 and the 20-day historic volatility was 0.24. That's almost a 10-point risk premium variance in this, meaning that the expected move was significantly higher than the actual move. That's where we have the chance to make some good money. Now, to no surprise, towards the end of last week, I actually had a very profitable, it was my most profitable week year to date, but I was trading a lot of shorter term SPX credit strategies, and shocker, I had to fight the living hell out of a trade on the 28th. I literally had over $850,000 of capital committed at one point to get the trade to work. So in order for me to make and adjust that trade as many times as I needed to, I literally had to throw a ton of money at the trade, which not everybody has the ability to do that. And that is one of the downfalls of these kinds of strategies. However, also notice what happened on Friday. The variance risk premium wasn't there. Implied volatility was 0.267. Historic volatility came in at 0.285. So all in all, we experienced on this day more volatility than was priced into the options. And again, no surprise, I was fighting. And I took actually a very small loss on the 27th, the day before. And again, the difference between the variance risk premium is so low. Implied volatility was 0.281, historic volatility was 0.2799996. So the variance between those is tiny. So when we're trading these 0 DTE SPX or short-term credit strategies, really in anything, we have to be mindful about the variance risk premium, when it's there, when it's not there, and then also what phenomenon we're even attempting to trade and take advantage of. One last note is I've already mentioned that we typically will find the variance risk premium in certain products. You can find it in individual securities as well. It's not that it doesn't exist there. It's just less common, and you have to do a lot of homework to see if it is there. But I don't want to dissuade anybody from attempting to find it other places. I trade it in other places myself. You just kind of have to accept the workload that goes with it. So I hope this video was helpful. If there was anything revolutionary in here for you, please throw it in the comments. Let other people identify and connect some light bulbs for them. And until next time, keep on being an outlier. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch you guys later.